I'm Brenda with Lador Ministries.
And I'm Tina with Lador Ministries.
And we want to show you how to make latkes tonight. At Hanukkah, it is traditional to eat foods cooked in oil. So one of the things that a lot of people like to eat are jelly donuts. They're called sufganiyot in Hebrew, and they're fried in oil. And then another thing are potato pancakes, which we call latkes. And there are lots of different recipes for latkes. You can make them with regular potatoes, with sweet potatoes. You can make them more sweet or more savory. But I'm going to show you how I like to make latkes. So my trusty assistant here, Tina, is going to help me and ask some questions as we go through this. First, you need to shred potatoes on the big holes on a grater. So you need to think about how many people you're making latkes for, and it's 1 potato per person. So I'm just doing a small amount for this demonstration. So I just did 2 potatoes. Then you need to put them in a strainer and press it down. You need to press down the potatoes after you've shredded them because you want to squeeze out the liquid, which this looks gross, but you squeeze the liquid out to dry out the potatoes before you are going to mix them up to make your latke mixture.
And how long have you been making latkes?
I have been making latkes for about 24 years. And every year I read new different recipes and I tweak my recipe a little bit, but pretty much I've figured out how I like to make them. So you can also squeeze out the potatoes like in a tea towel, but I think that's kind of messy. I'd rather do it in a strainer and press them down and get the liquid out. So once you get your potatoes in there, then you also need to shred some onion, again, on the big holes of the grater.
And what kind of onion are you putting in there?
This is a white onion, and it's about, I'd say 1 to 2 tablespoons per potato. So that's about how much. And depending on how much onion flavor you like.
Where did you get your recipe from originally?
I started with a recipe from our dear friend Annette, who is a Messianic Jew, and she showed us all kinds of wonderful things having to do with Hanukkah. So her recipe, actually, she does do the shredding of the potatoes on the big grater and the potato, but she uses matzo meal. I'm going to use flour. I did not have good luck with matzo meal the first time I tried this recipe. This is about 1/2 cup, but you just got to make it the right gloppiness. Actually, I'm going to add a beaten egg first. So it's 1 egg per 2 potatoes. So we're going to do the egg first, and then mix it up. It's kind of pretty good gloppiness there. And then you just want it to kind of bind together. So maybe that's about 1/4 cup of flour.
And does everyone in your family like latkes?
Everyone in my family likes latkes, yes.
Who doesn't love latkes,
I know,
right?
especially hot out of the oil. Oh man, that's the best.
I can't wait. I can't wait for that crunch.
Yeah, that looks good. And then you need to add a little bit of leavening. Also, Annette's recipe called for baking powder, but I like cream of tartar better. It's a leavening agent also. So just about 1/4 teaspoon per potato, depending on, again, how many potatoes. It all depends on how many latkes you're making. And it's surprising. This is only 2 potatoes, but it's going to make quite a few latkes.
Does the cream of tartar add any kind of flavor to it?
It really doesn't add any flavor. It just kind of helps them puff up a little bit.
And so what kind of oil are you using?
I like to use avocado oil because it can be heated up to the high temperatures that you need to cook the latkes. Olive oil doesn't really do well when you heat it up. So you can use any kind of vegetable oil. But avocado oil is a little bit better for you. I mean, if they're latkes, so they're not so good for you anyway. But, you know, it's a little bit better when you use avocado oil. So that's what I like to use.
Okay, Brenda, how do we know that the oil is ready?
Well, when it just kind of barely starts to bubble, and I just learned a chopstick trick.
Oh,
If you take a chopstick and you kind of hold it in there, then it kind of bubbles around the chopstick, and that lets you know that the oil's ready. Can you see it?
I just
a
see
little bit.
Little tiny
yeah.
bubbles.
So you know it's ready. And you don't need to put a whole lot of oil in your pan. You don't want it to be swimming in oil. So just, you know, a little shallow layer. And then you want about
You're just scooping some
a
out?
tablespoon.
Okay.
And then you kind of flatten them out.
Nice. And do you add any seasoning to it?
After I get them all going, I will salt them
Okay.
in the pan. I like to do it that way. You can put the salt and pepper in the mixture if you want to, but I like to just do it when they're cooking.
Okay. And how long do they cook for?
Till they're done.
Okay. So you just look for golden brown?
I've never timed them actually, but yeah, I just kind of watch the color.
Okay.
And when you're doing a bigger pan like this, the first one, you know, is going to cook faster, obviously, than the other ones.
Right.
So,
There's the salt.
and you just want to turn it over one time. While they're cooking, traditionally also, you can eat your latkes with applesauce or sour cream. And some people like them with both. Some people like them with nothing. Some people like them with one or the other of those.
And which do you prefer?
I prefer sour cream.
Really?
How about you?
Well, I like applesauce. I like the sweet.
And something else I learned, a lot of people take their latkes when they're done and put them on paper towels. And I learned this year that that is what makes them soggy. Put them on a cooling rack. Then it keeps them crispy. So, some
Looks
oil
delicious.
flying there. It's smelling pretty good.
Yes, it smells great. Okay, and now we have our 3 taste testers. And introduce yourself.
I'm Wade.
Susan.
And I'm Ron.
All right, and
They like theirs plain, so I'm gonna try it with
I'm a
the sour
purist.
cream and the applesauce.
terrific. Go for it. How's it taste?
Just like Bubby used to make.
And Bubby
Perfect.
means grandma,
Grandma.
grandmother. Ron says it tastes perfect.
They don't know what they're missing.
So which is your favorite, sour cream or applesauce?
I liked them both, and I liked how I did it because you get the savory sweet, the salty sweet, and you can reverse the order if you want to end with the
Oh,
salt.
that sauce on mine.
Awesome.
So that was nice. I like that.
Okay, thank you guys.